what are you talking about? No, I'll say probably the very first thing I worked on, and it's complicated because I love the team and I think we're doing great work, was we worked on something called Visual Studio for devices. And the idea was
What was
you
it?
build,
Wish list for what?
Visual Studio for
Visual Studio.
devices. This
Oh,
was in
like
2005.
coding on your phone.
Yeah, well,
No,
coding for your
no.
phone.
Oh, okay.
And the idea was this was before iPhone. This was the era of Windows Mobile Pocket PCs and Windows Mobile smartphones.
Man,
This
the
was
kids listening to this, like, what's he talking about?
yeah,
What was before
yeah. There was
iPhone?
some, and this was 2005, 2006, so right before the iPhone came out, the 2 years, and we were fresh out of school. Both of us worked on this, and there was basically an IDE Visual Studio, and they had an extension where you could write code on a slimmed down version of the .NET framework, and you would run apps on these small phones and the small pocket PCs. And the team was fantastic. They all still friends, and without that, we wouldn't have our jobs or careers. So that's not the point. The point is, we all knew these phones were terrible and slow and awful. But what we're told all the time was, listen, nobody can change this because the carriers control this market. They determine what software goes on a phone, goes on a device. So this entire ecosystem is all about competing with BlackBerry. In fact, the code name for Windows Mobile 5.0 was Crossbow. And kind of a little secret, which I think is kind of public now, Crossbow was a weed killer. It killed blackberries. And so the whole idea was, how do you kill enterprise how do you kind of go after the enterprise market BlackBerry and work with the carriers, right? And then in 2007, Steve Jobs comes out and says, I have 3 launches for you. Actually, it's one thing, right? And that, I remember texting my manager that I was like, you have to see this keynote, right? Because it was so obvious that this thing was going to change everybody. And everyone at Microsoft was like, no, it's the OE, it's the carriers of all the control. Like, they will never let these devices learn. But actually, it turns out that's not true. I learned 2 lessons from that. One is, the market is bigger than all of you. You can work with the amazing team, you can work with the A+ team, A+ company, but if the market shifts, you can't overcome a bad market or a bad space. The second part is, at the heart of it, if you feel some product is bad, and if you feel like this new thing is just better to use and you can just feel it instinctively, you have to follow the instinct. Because I remember, like, yeah, the iPhone is cool, it feels so much better, but okay, maybe they're right. Maybe, it is the,
Like, all these people so much more senior than us. Clearly, they've like put so much more thought into this. Clearly, like, what do I know, kind of thing. And you kind of realize that, like, now I think over the what we've done product for 15, 16 years now, and we look at it and go, like, we now have these patterns to go match against. We know when something's like better, when something is working, when something feels like it's intuitive. You kind of follow that intuition now, then, and not try and fight it and be like, but here are all these things where this is not going to get there, kind of thing. Like, it just doesn't work that way. The market ultimately wins.
And I think when you're younger, you should really trust your instincts. And instincts can mean, I just hear people talking about this other thing a lot, right? Or I hear that other company's name come up a lot. Or I tried this thing, and you may not have the framework to articulate it, and you may not trust your instincts, but there's something there, and you should learn to listen to that voice. You're like, why is that? Why are people talking about it? Maybe they're doing better marketing, right? Maybe their CEO is better on Twitter, or they have Lenny Rachitsky as an angel investor, and or they advertise on your podcast. There we go. I try to get a plug in there, Lenny. And but you have to sort of listen to your instinct, because you may not know, there's usually something there to follow.
I only have 2